Hello, hello, and welcome to the Cup TV, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality, and where you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm your girl Lana, your resident evil diva, and I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because I love me some tea. And if you have some tea, you know what to do. Hit me up. I'm just drinking water because it's hot here on this island. I'm just saying it's hot and I need water to hydrate myself. So I'm just drinking water. But if I was drinking anything else, y'all, I would be drinking it out of my cup mug. We do have our cup mug and our cup merch. And you can get you that at lanagscreations.etsy.com. The link will be in the description below. And I know y'all don't want to talk to me and talk about me because I'm not the one that's important here. Because as you see who's here. You know her. You love her. I love her. It's Miss Mattina in the building. Woo!
Still in there. Thank you so much for having me on, Lana. You know what I think of you. That you are queen. So thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
I can't because okay, let me just start off by saying Kim Mattina is the whole reason I started playing these online games in the first place. I don't know. I told this story to a lot of people, but she is the very reason why. Because at first I was very scared to play these online games. And I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't know if I'm going to put myself out there. And Kim was like, you need to do it. You should do it. As a matter of fact, here are some tools to help you do it. She sent me this full sheet of just how to play this game and how to do it. And I was like, wow, she really think I could do this? And then when I did it, it was fun and I had enjoyed, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, you get sucked into them. And I think I saw something in you that you were not seeing in yourself. And I couldn't have been more proud. I was like a mama bird. You know, I had to kick you out of the nest, and I could not have been more proud of how you spread your wings and flew. That's all there is to it. And took over the world. You have been an amazing online gamer to watch and to enjoy, truly enjoy.
That means a whole lot. I'm not going to sit here and gush because it's not about me.
Okay, I'll stop gushing too.
Okay, because it was so good. I tell the story every time anybody asks me why I started playing and all this whole thing. How did I get into it? I was like, y'all don't even know. The only reason I played is because Kim Mattina told me to do it and was like pushing me and telling me, you should do this. This is fun. This is what you need to do. And I was like, I don't know. I'm so scared, so very scared to put myself out there online. I was like, I don't know. People might talk about me and I don't know how I feel about this. But it turned out nobody cared. And everybody just embraced me for who I am. And it was so much fun. And I owe a lot of friendships and people who today I still enjoy talking to and have in my life because you pushed me out there to do it. So,
well, thank you. Thank you so much. You did it on your own, but thank you for the nod.
Thank you. But speaking of nods, like I said, I knew you from a chat room, a group chat of reality TV. We were just talking about reality TV and our love for reality TV. And to see you on Deal or No Deal Island, mama, when I tell you I screamed a scream that I never screamed in my whole entire life, I was like, wait a minute. When the announcement came out, I was like, oh my, not my Kim on national TV. I'm screaming. How did that journey even happen? How did that journey take place?
You know what? It started actually about about a year prior, for a different show, and someone
Mhm.
had seen me on Sequester
Okay.
and went to casting, said, "You might wanna look at this lady." Definitely not the normal demographic. When you think of players that apply, I'm outside of that demographic completely.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Um, they reached out to me and said, "Would you be interested in applying?" And this was for a different game show. Um, and I did. And I found out after the fact that I was a finalist for it, but the game
Oh,
did get scrubbed. And at the time, I mean, they were casting, there were 550 people being cast for 2 shows at the time
wow.
because Squid Games was one of them. And,
Okay.
um, and I think it was just oversaturating the pool of players that
Mm.
would be good TV, good strategy, entertaining, but still playing the game kind of thing. That's just honestly, that is just my thoughts on maybe why it didn't happen. And then follow up a year later, and I get a call, and it's like, Kim, just so you know, there's this other show coming up, Deal or No Deal Island, and we'd love to see you apply again. And it's like, okay. And I asked a million questions. It's like,
Absolutely.
okay, because initially they were saying it was kind of a cross between Survivor and Deal or No Deal, the game show. And I'm going, I'm not good with building shelter. I'm not good with the physical competitions. I'm
Right.
not good. I'm not going to be at all good eating rice, only rice, if that. Um, I just think that that wouldn't be a good match for me. And it's like, oh no, the thing that's not like Survivor is you're not going to have to build a shelter. You will have shelter. You're
Okay.
not going to be eating just rice. And we really think that you would be awesome in it. And I'm going, okay, well, they've got more confidence in me than I do. So what the heck? I'm going to go ahead and apply. So anybody who sees these different casting calls for shows, reality shows, that thinks, "Ah, I'm not going to be good at it." Do not underestimate yourself, because obviously going through the casting process, if they see something in you,
Mhm.
then they already have ideas on chemistry and putting together an effective cast. And they obviously see something in you that, like in my case, I didn't see in myself.
Mhm.
So I would say, what's the worst thing that happens if you apply? Oh my gosh, you don't get cast.
Okay.
Then you watch the show and you can criticize people like me who did get cast. That's what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I would just say, do it, enjoy the process, because it's exciting and it's nerve-wracking, and every emotion that can go with that. And at the end, it's like, you know what? I tried. And that was my whole feeling coming out of casting, was going, I can never say I didn't try, you
Mm.
know? And I figured I would regret later on, I wish I would have, as opposed to, oh my gosh, I went that far in it.
Yeah.
And in my case, got lucky enough to um, just have the good fortune to be actually get on the show. 13 people out of tens of thousands of applicants. 13 people got cast, and I was one of them.
You were one of them. That's
Wild.
insane.
It
That's
is. It's
wild.
insane.
But it's deserved though, Kim, because you definitely gave, I think, what they were looking for, because you were good TV. It was it was good TV, whether people liked you or they
Mhm.
didn't. It was
Right.
good TV, and I was very impressed. I'm just gonna say, I was like, I'm not just, okay, yeah, I was. I was rooting for you just because I knew you and because I loved you, and I was like,
Exactly.
absolutely, she could do no wrong in my eyes. But I was like, even if I didn't know you, I would be very impressed at how you played this game.
Oh,
And,
thank you.
yeah, and watching these episodes, I was like, I can see Kim making it. I can see Kim making it. And then I watched the episode today, and I was like, oh,
Uh-oh.
oh,
Oops.
oops. But I do want to know, because I want to know what your perception was like during the filming of the game. Did you think you were the villain in the game during filming?
Um, I did not think I was the villain. They used that big V word in the very first episode that
Mm-hmm.
I think gave a lot of people the perception that I came into it wanting to play a villain, which
Mm-hmm.
is not true. What I said in the first episode is, hey, if I'm thought of as a villain, I'll own it.
Absolutely.
And if you notice the dress, it was the dress from last night's episode. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually said that after the fact, but it applied at the beginning if I was going to be thought of as a villain. So I did not come into it to play a villain role.
Mm-hmm.
It got thrust upon me. What can I say? Um, and during the game, there were a couple things that I would say maybe were a little villainous, but in reality TV, like in the very first episode, if I had said to Dawson or said to, I didn't know he had the $1 million case at the time,
Mm-hmm.
but to whomever, if I had said, if you've got the $1 million case and fess up to it, I will not put you in against the banker. I made that promise in front of everybody.
Right.
Now, had I turned around and put him in against the banker,
Villain.
that's a villain move.
For
Or
sure.
with Jamil, if I'm sitting there talking with him at the table and I say, Jamil, you know what? Even if I lose to the banker or if I beat the banker, I am not going to I'm not going to eliminate you. You're safe with me.
Mm-hmm.
I never told him that.
Oh,
That would have been a villainous mood. Absolutely. To tell him he'd be safe and then
sit
eliminate
him
him.
out. Absolutely.
Now that's a villain move. So I didn't really feel like I had villain moves, but there was definitely villainous moments that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
yeah.
agree. I agree. I was we definitely covered the show, and when during our last recap of the last episode, I was like, I knew I was watching. I was like, I knew in that very moment when Kim was talking to Jamil at the table, and you mentioned how you wanted to go after Rob, and Jamil just looked like, eh, okay. I was like, oh, he just lost Kim. He just
Yep,
lost Kim because now if you're
absolutely.
not with her in her decision to get rid of Rob, you're against her. And so that's just gamer 101. If you don't go along with the plan, that lets me know that you are against my plan. So if you're against the plan, you're against me. And I gotta let you go.
And that's very true. And he did. He really and Jamil and I talked a lot. I mean, like family, his sister. I knew all about his sister. I knew about his kids. I knew what he did. And Jamil is really a wonderful man. He really
Mhm.
is truly a good man. And I can't say enough about him. But when we were sitting there talking and it was game talk on that one,
Mhm.
it was one thing that he just kind of shut down conversation that made me go, hmm. But when he got up and left and he beelined it for the water to talk to Nick and Rob,
Yeah, nah.
and I was like, oh, no, 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 because now not only are you not on the same page with me, but you're reporting the page to
Mhm.
Rob. It's like,
Exactly.
no, that's not okay. And I even told him afterwards, it's like, if you had gone to the porta potties, if you had gone over to your tent, something like that, and then went out there, at least that'd be a little more subtle.
Right.
But when you went directly over there, it
Yeah.
really narrowed down the field on who would be going in if I beat the banker.
Absolutely. It made sense to me. I was like, you
Yeah.
just literally shut down the conversation and made it very well known and clear that you're not with this plan that she's hatching up. And so if you're not with the plan and then you go report the plan,
Yeah.
you gotta
And,
go.
and I deliberately mentioned Rob's name. I mean, I was
Mhm.
very deliberate in it in my mind
Mhm.
because I knew that there would be some sort of reaction.
Right.
Either it's going to be like, I've been thinking about that too. Let's, brainstorm some ideas. What can we do to work together to make this happen? Or I think I'm going to go tell Rob that Kim brought up his name as a target.
He
Plan
would.
B, that was it. And he went with that plan. And I I had to own up that because up until then, really, I had not been targeting Rob per se.
Mhm.
Okay. Anytime I was talking with anyone, it's like, I think that he should stick around till maybe 7 or 8. I think we need to keep him in for a little while. And I even told Rob that. Rob's like, I know you're targeting me. And I'm like, actually, I've been telling people that I don't want you to go right away. But then when I threw the name out to Jamil and it got back to Rob, then all of a sudden Rob is my target. And
Mhm.
I can either own that or I can go back on it. I had to own it at that point. I knew what was said. I knew
Mhm.
what was said. So yeah, that I didn't think that was a villainous move. I mean,
It wasn't.
hello,
Not at
Rob
all.
even said himself. He said
You
it at the very
should.
beginning. It's like if they're smart, they're going to get rid of me right away, but they never do.
I oh my gosh. Okay, because I am that reality girly too, and I'm
Yeah,
just like, why are we doing this? What is it about Rob? I see Rob on any show, I'm going for him first. That's it. That's all. That's if I'm ever on a show, any show, I don't care if it's who can play Tiddlywinks the best. I don't care what the show is. If Rob is on the show with me, I'm going for him first. That's
yeah,
target number one. And people just don't do it.
I know.
Logan and myself has said this on the recap. We're like, I don't know if people are actually really playing strategically besides Rob and Kim at this point, because they are the only ones strategically making the moves, trying to get out people who they consider a threat to their game. Everybody else is like,
Right.
oh, I kind of like this person, so I'm gonna keep them around. What?
Yeah, we're playing for millions of dollars. Why would we be playing for each other
Right.
when there is a team element? I mean, to some degree, there's a team
Mhm,
element because you're trying to build that pot and hopefully be the one to get to play against the banker for the pot. So
mhm.
there's definitely a piece of it where, yeah, you want to build up the pot. But at the same time, you need to stick around the game or you've got no shot at the pot,
Yeah.
period. But I'll tell you, Rob's mist is real. I mean, they talk about Dan Giesling's mist in
Mhm.
Big Brother. No, Rob's mist is real. He's charming and he's endearing and he's got this boyish grin and you you get sucked into it. You really do.
Mhm.
Especially if you may be familiar with Rob, but if you don't know how Rob has played, it's very easy to fall for that. Very easy. And
Yeah.
he is damn good at it.
I mean, and that leads me into my next question because what was your thought? Because I know you're a reality girly like myself, and we watch all these reality shows faithfully. What was your thought when you walked in and saw that Boston Rob was there? Was it like, oh, see you?
I actually I saw him at the airport.
Okay.
So, I and I walked in and there were already people, all different passengers and stuff sitting there. And I see the B on the hat
Mhm.
backwards. And I was like, nah, no, no. Kind of circled around and went, shit. And I went up to one of the members of production and said, please, please, please tell me he is here to host a competition. And the answer was, we can't tell you that because let me tell you, they are really tight-lipped on stuff. And that I was like, crap. So what I thought I might come into as a strategy, I had to pivot before I was even on that last flight to get out to the Bankers Island.
Wow.
It was, yeah, I had to rethink everything because I am playing against, or more than likely playing against this strategist who has played people, time after time, after time, after time, after time, after time, and after time.
Absolutely.
And he knows what he's doing and he's damn good at it. What can I do? And so my game plan was I'm going to lay low. I'm not going to let him know that I know all about him or anything like that. Yeah, that was also out the window. As soon as the first competition, actually before that, he was like, Kim, I know, I saw you looking out the windows. I know that you weren't just looking at scenery. And I was like, okay, fair enough. But as soon as I went back into the mud to go after the red briefcase, he knew that I knew how to play a game. Maybe not that game, but I knew how to play.
Yeah.
And so the first episode, and he said, she is the most dangerous player in this game.
That I would have took that as a badge of honor. Like, look at this.
100%. 100% to have Boston Rob.
Absolutely.
With all the games we've watched him on,
Mm-hmm.
when have you really ever heard him compliment his adversary or his competitor?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do that. And so when I saw that on TV, I kind of felt it. I could feel that he was concerned on what I might know or do. But when I saw that on the show at the same time as everybody else, I'm like, okay, I am flattered because that doesn't happen often with Rob. So yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% flattered that he thinks that I'm the most dangerous player in there.
You had the girlies pressed, Kim. You had them so pressed. And I was like, how did that feel knowing? And I'm not going to say, being the oldest person on the cast, being someone who's not on TV on a regular basis playing these games with people. It's been a minute since you played games, even online. And how does that feel to have all these people so pressed about you being able to outgame them? Because literally you were running circles around some of them strategic wise. Physically, yes, we know we saw the struggle. The struggle is real, but that's gonna happen. We're not spring chickens anymore. And so we're not gonna just run through mud like everybody else, because I would have been you. Kim, you are me. I would have been you in that episode. I would have been struggling in the mud.
You know what? I had to play with what I thought were my strengths. And I knew that anything physical wasn't necessarily going to be a strength for me. I lost a lot of weight coming into it. I lost 65 pounds
Oh, wow.
before I hit the island. Not all at once, and not because of that, because I really did have dental work done. And, so that was a contributing factor. And once I was into the casting process, it's like, well, you never know. I guess maybe I better be working out or something. And,
Right.
I was walking, I was running where I could, I was swimming, things like that. But gosh, and people were pressed.
They were pressed.
That they were pressed. The edits don't really show it all because, like, for example, when I'm on the platform there for the swingers club for swinging out of the tree, and Claudia's going off on me, and it looks like I don't have a friend in the world, right? Okay. Alyssa said, oh, this is going to be the greatest blind side ever. For it to be a blind side, the object of the blind side probably shouldn't know what's going on.
Right.
Otherwise, it's not a blind side.
Really a blind side.
I knew that I was going to be targeted.
Absolutely.
Okay. I knew. Or when they were talking about the plan, right? I knew about the plan by 3 different people. So I had friends up there, but at the same time, all you have to do is watch the show back, and you will see people that are applauding for Claudia.
Yes.
Oh, there's my cat, by the way. Hi, Benny.
Yes. Hi,
there are people applauding for Claudia and her going off on me, and there are people who are not. And those people who are not are, for the most part, people that I'm working with. And even a few that are, or at least one that was, I was working with her, but not really. We were not quite together. And I didn't know if there was any trust there with her. And I'm positive, 100% positive that feeling was mutual. It's like, okay, we're both looking at the same end goal, but we're not quite there with trusting each other's words on it. So it was, it wasn't quite as bad. And honestly, at that point, I was so over it. I was over Claudia.
Yeah.
And I wanted to work with her. I was team girls. Okay. Even after the fact, talking to Nick and to Jamil, and they were both saying, we knew it was going to be one of the two of us because we didn't figure you would eliminate any of the women at that point. And I was like, I wouldn't have. I wasn't going to. I wanted to see the girls have an opportunity to win. I did. Whether it was me or someone else, I wanted to see women at the end. And so, no, that early in the game, I wasn't going to take out a girl. And I had the chance to. When I eliminated Jamil, I could have eliminated Claudia right there.
Absolutely, you could have.
She chimed in, and it's like, oh, this isn't maybe a great point in the game to do that. But I didn't think it was right to get rid of a woman there, especially when I had 2 men. I could have gotten rid of Alyssa right there.
Yeah.
She was my partner on that challenge, but she was
plotting against you.
She wasn't, and you know what? And she didn't own up in front of everybody to accepting the personal offer, the 20,000 up there. There were 2 other people that got that, by the way. And they did not show that on the show, but Nick, Miranda, and Alyssa, all 3 got the $20,000. And Joe said, I told you guys, you can keep it secret if you want, but if anyone wants to say they got it, raise your hand. And Miranda and Nick did. Alyssa didn't. Okay. And he said, the banker's also saying this is a personal offer that you can split with your partner Since you played as partners, you win as partners, you lose as partners. If you want to split with your partner, you can. Do any of you want to do that? And both Miranda and Nick split with their partners.
Wow. That's
So,
really
that part was all left out, but that also kind of became a trust issue with Alyssa. And I felt that was the reason I cried. Wasn't because I was worried about being eliminated or that I was worried about going against the banker. I knew I was going against the banker. I knew that. And I even said I would. I was really upset because I felt like I had let Alyssa down. She kicked ass climbing up the tree and back down and getting the arrows over and all that stuff. And I felt like I failed her. And I did. I mean, I did. So, it's just, that was just a very emotional part of it for me, was that I had let her down. And, it is what it is. I talked to her, and then next thing you know, she's scheming behind my back.
She was gunning for you. She
went into snake mode. Yeah.
I was like, wow. I mean, but I applauded her gameplay, because she was kind of like, yeah, sure, she was my partner, but she also recognized that not a lot of people a few people were not fans of yours. So it was kind of like,
the people she was aligned with were not fans of mine, specifically Rob, Claudia. At that point right there, Jamil. Well, no, Jamil was out at that point. And she was sick out there on the island. She was super sick. I literally stayed up the entire night with her because we were in the pavilion. It was when I was talking to her, and I stayed up the entire night with her. And then she pulled that the next day, and it's like, okay, Alyssa. And especially because what I said to her, and I called Claudia and Rob. I did say those fuckers. And I'm sorry, those effers. And that was in response to Rob and Claudia chiming up during the bankers, while we were at Banker's Temple. And Rob and Claudia, when they chimed up, I was upset about that because I was joking, and Rob was feeling the room to see who he could side with, who would side with him, even though he knew I was joking.
Absolutely.
He knew it. He said it later on, but he knew it.
It was definitely manipulation in the game.
Yeah. And when he was reading the room to see who might back him on this, and then in the next sentence, the next breath, and Claudia is saying that I was disrespectful. And I was just like, what's disrespectful about saying, I hope that you're wrong? Because if you're wrong, I'm still going to be in the game. And that's the whole point of the game, right? There was nothing disrespectful about that at all. But she, but she felt that it was, and that's okay. But that doesn't negate my, my feelings towards that. And so when I said those fuckers, well, and then Alyssa elaborated on it and made it motherfuckers. When she retold to Rob, when she retold to Claudia and those two groups of people. And that's not what it was said. It was fuckers. And when she came back and said, well, you said it to me. I know what it was you said. And I was like, I don't think that's what I said. I don't think that's what I said. And I told her, but if you're saying that I did, it sounds like something I could say. And I'm okay. I'm okay with that. And so I apologized. I specifically apologized to Rob, not for calling him a fucker, but because he's got 4 little girls that absolutely worship him.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt bad that that was going to be on the air or could potentially be on the air. You know, I didn't know how they were going to edit anything. And so I did feel bad about that. And I
Okay.
did apologize to him for that.
Fair.
But not for actually saying it, because let's face it, Rob has
He
said worse,
he
and
said
Rob
worse.
has
He's
been
done
called
worse.
worse.
Yes.
I
I
was
mean,
not the devil reincarnated there.
absolutely not. Honestly, I was like, why are we blowing this up like this is major, a huge thing? This is an anthill compared to some of the things that Rob has been called or has called people and have done. So, and like even he was like, I know she did, she was joking. I know I'm game manipulating this whole situation just to see who's gonna back me up, and
Yep,
then I know they on my side. And he did that. And Claudia
he
fell
did
into
it.
the trap. I do believe Claudia felt a type of way about that. And that's fine. Did I find it
Absolutely.
disrespectful? Absolutely not. I was like, what part of I hope you're wrong in a game where we're trying to win millions of dollars is disrespectful? It's just, I hope you're wrong, so therefore I can stay. And I was like,
Mhm.
that's not disrespectful. And I am one of the first people to call out foolishness and disrespect. And like, I'm like, okay, now that was a little, that was
Yeah,
foul. But that I was like, well, what was the disrespect? I was waiting on it because we got the teaser of that was disrespectful. So I'm like, what happened?
I
That
know.
she felt disrespected and by Kim, what we get? And then when I watched the episode, I'm like, that was it. Ain't nothing
That
disrespectful
was
about
it.
that. I'm
That
like,
was
ain't
it.
nothing disrespectful about that. But and I was rooting for Claudia as well because I was like, Claudia, Dylan O'Dell original, she an OG. We love Claudia. And then I was like, oh, Claudia, girl. Okay, girl. If that's how you want to play, that's all
Yeah,
right.
and I also saw her at the airport, and I
Mhm.
recognized her immediately,
Immediately, absolutely.
and I knew it was Claudia. I remembered her from Deal or No Deal. I remembered her. She was a Barker's Beauty
Yes, she
on The
was.
Price is
Yes,
Right.
she was.
I remembered her from that. I remembered her from Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Mhm, mhm.
I knew her from that. I knew her from The Apprentice.
Yep.
So I knew I felt like that was her. Like I looked at her, she's stunningly beautiful.
Gorgeous,
And
gorgeous.
I'm looking at her going, shit, that's Claudia. And she had her carry-on had like a little brass plate that said
Mhm.
CJ. That's when I
Yeah.
was like, okay, yeah, definitely. Okay, that's definitely Claudia. Um, and like I said, you know what, we were whatever it is, oil and water.
Mhm.
We she she did not like me. As simple as that. She just did not like me.
Mhm.
Um, I don't think she felt that way maybe initially, but as soon as I eliminated Jamil,
Mhm,
that
mhm.
she took that very personally.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and you only know what you know is going on.
Right.
She wasn't sitting there at the table to hear the conversation and Rob's name brought up. She only knew from when Jamil went out in the water and let them all
Mhm,
know.
mhm.
Um, and so she, and from then on, forget it. Forget it. Um, and and that's okay. You know what? Not everybody, it's not Kumbaya Island.
Mhm,
It
mhm.
really isn't. And I was there to play the game, and she was playing a different game.
Yeah.
I wasn't there to play her game. I wasn't there to play Rob's game. And because of that, they didn't want me playing the game,
The game,
period.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I wanna know because this Deal or No Deal is such a huge game. Huge game. So we watched it for years with Howie doing the and we
Yeah.
saw all the deal girls and the case girls and all the things. We watched this show. I was religiously watching Deal or No Deal.
Same. Yeah.
How was it like to actually play Deal or No Deal?
It was nerve-wracking.
Mm.
It really was, because you second guess yourself every inch of the way, whether it's the case that you pick or the cases that you're picking up there to hopefully build the pot, but still be able to make a great deal. You have no idea what is in your case or any of those that you're picking. So you second guess, and then God forbid the banker calls in and makes you an offer, and you second guess, am I doing the right thing here? And again, the first priority was to advance, to get to the next round, to still be alive in the game. Second priority is to build the pot, because if you're the last one at the end, you want a big pot at the end.
Absolutely.
You also, it got talked about. Okay. So like after I played, I mean, of course, Aaron did great. Aaron had 600,000 in the pot. I come back with 240,000, I think it was, something like that in the pot. And it was talked about that I took the deal early. I should have waited for it to go up, for the banker to make a better offer, all of this. And I was like, that was still $250,000 that I put into the pot. That wasn't that bad. And again, it was the same people. Remember, these are breadcrumbs that are being thrown around and cumulatively used to make a bread loaf. And so, it was definitely Claudia. It was Rob. Claudia said it more than once. It's like she was just being selfish and not building up the pot. And that was terrible. She shouldn't have done that. Blah, blah. She should have kept going. But, and another piece that was edited was, Joe said, very similar to what Howie always used to do. Well, if you hadn't taken the deal, what would have been the next case that you picked? And the next case that I was going to pick, they flipped it open, and it was $1.5 million.
Wow. See?
So it wouldn't have gone in the pot. I wouldn't have been able to put nearly as much in the pot. But then the same people that criticized me took a deal of 180,000. Right? Claudia did.
And then Rob
at 48,000. Their two combined didn't equal what I had put in the pot. So it's like, how does that make me the bad person?
It doesn't make any sense, because that's what I was just about to say. Are they going to have these same conversations? Is Rob going to be able to go back to the camp and was like, well, you put in the least amount of money from anybody who's played thus far, so you can't say anything. But of course, it's Rob, and everybody's going to be like, oh, it's okay, Rob. 46,000 is a lot of money. When people put in $200,000, and that was selfish. What?
Yeah, so, there was a lot of hypocrisy in what was going on. It's like saying one thing, but doing another. I'm a team player. We're going to build the pot. Let's get more money in the pot. And then takes a deal for 48,000. Or I'm here to build up the pot and taking the deal for 180, which I thought was actually, I thought it was pretty good deal that she took. Of course, not knowing what was in her case, but with what was offered, I thought she did the right thing.
Absolutely.
And I was worried about it because, once again, Kim was on the block there to be eliminated. And then after the fact, found out that that she actually was going to take out Stephanie on that, and using the same reasoning that I was criticized for. I was criticized for eliminating Jamil, saying sometimes it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't know, and that exact same reason was used by Claudia. So it was inappropriate for me, but appropriate for her. So I just see a lot of contradictions, not necessarily hypocrisy, but contradictions between what was said and what was done.
how is it cool when they do it, but not cool when you do it? Like that just
Yeah.
it just that's so crazy to me. I yeah, I thought, and when you took out Jamil, I was like, that makes sense because Jamil was not acting, but he was being a friend also. So he was
Mhm.
somebody you did like, but
Yeah.
you ain't really know where he was coming from fully all the
Yeah.
time. You knew exactly where Claudia was coming from. You
Oh,
knew
yeah.
what she didn't like you. That was it. You do that up front. But you ain't know Jamil was that kind of person who, if you kept him in the game, would he come after you next or not? Because he
Right.
was kind of like, oh no, I'm a friendly guy, which are really dangerous people to those social butterflies, which I am, by the way. And people, look, I've
You're
been told
dangerous. Exactly.
dangerous we can be because people trust you and they let you in, and
Mhm.
you,
Absolutely.
and
And
when you have to cut them,
y
it's like,
you know
what?
what? And he was never acting the part. He is really so funny and so
Mhm.
nice. And I met his sister in LA,
Oh,
and his sister, oh, she's something else. She's a beautiful, beautiful woman,
mhm.
and she puts him in his place real quick. And she was really something else. But Jamil was Jamil.
Mhm.
He's just a good man. He really is.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's nice. I want to ask about your relationship with the cast now that you're off, it's aired. What's your relationship with everybody? Are you all cool? Y'all got the group chat going.
But there's definitely group chats. Not everybody is cool with
Mhm.
everybody. Um, I can talk about who.
Just you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I can't. I don't want to provide any information that would be spoilers. I can tell
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
that Stephanie is an amazing, amazing woman, and anyone. She's a midwife.
Mhm.
She started. They're actually right now. They're still in the middle of remodeling an old, like almost 200-year-old house to be a
Wow.
birthing sanctuary in Alabama because there is not one that exists
It
down
is
there.
not one. I'm in Alabama and no, it is not one.
Exactly, and she has fought legislation down there. She
Mm.
when they were telling her she couldn't practice as a midwife because she needed ABC certification in Alabama that she don't, you
Mhm.
know what she did? She went and got the
Got 'em.
certifications and was like, "There you go. What's next? Give me
Now
more.
what?
Give me more." And
Mhm.
so she is such an inspiration, and I admire her so much. I can't say enough about her, and she has been a terrific friend to me. Um, her family is amazing. Her her husband, he has a barbecue place down there.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's like an hour and a half from Tuscaloosa.
Oh, I'm in Birmingham.
I'll,
Hold
I'll,
on.
I'll, I'll let you know offline. It's only
Yeah.
open on Saturday and Sunday because he's smoking meat and
Mhm.
working through the week and just simply sells the hell out of it on the weekends.
Oh, yeah.
Um, prepping on Fridays and doing it. So I'll give you the deets on
Yeah,
that.
please do,
But
'cause I love me some good barbecue, period.
mhm.
Mm.
and and so Stephanie and I are very good friends. She's
Good.
amazing. Um, Amy and I are very good friends.
Good.
She was put in a tough situation in last night's game.
Mhm.
Personally, I think she made the wrong choice. I think she would have been
Absolutely.
because you look at it, there had been 3 rounds of Deal or No Deal, and we beat the banker 2 out of the 3 times. And so there's coming into this, there's at least 66% chance that whoever plays the banker is going to
Mm,
beat the banker, right?
mhm, mhm.
And so my personal opinion was that she would have been better off putting in Dawson, who volunteered.
Mhm.
She would have been better off throwing me in and saying, Kim, I think you can beat the banker, and getting more blood on my hands than on someone else's, and taking away Rob's ability to control the destiny.
Yep.
So that was my opinion. But she was under pressure. She had to make a decision, and the reasons she said are valid for her game. Were very valid. So, Amy and I are very good friends. I'm sure I'll wander my way over to Oklahoma someday, one of these days. So I'm good friends with Amy. Dawson, absolutely love he and his family. I met his family in New York. They're amazing. I just love them. Nick is one of the funniest people. Nick is a cut up, Nick is a card, and he's got that New York state of mind, and I love him, that New York Italian state of mind. Love him for it. Miranda, I'm in touch with Miranda. I've reached out to Claudia. I reached out to her, especially over the holidays, over Thanksgiving and over Christmas, as well as finding out if she was going to go to New York or LA. And, she's busy with so many projects.
Right.
And, I get it. I understand that. I've reached out to Rob, and Rob's responded. I'm cool with Rob. He's a gamer.
Yeah.
So
you gotta respect the game.
Oh, absolutely. He's a gamer. He knows what he's doing. I can't be mad about that.
No.
He was playing the game. I was playing the game. Why? Because it was two different games. Can I be mad at him? I'm not. Aaron, he just got busy moving. So I haven't talked to Aaron a whole lot, but he's a good kid. He really is. I haven't talked to Alyssa a lot. I talked to her in LA. I talked to her in New York. I think there's a lot left unsaid right now. And I think eventually everything will be fine.
Absolutely.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. Jordan is an amazing woman. Jordan's incredible. She's so smart, and let's face it, she is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Jordan's a beautiful, beautiful person. So, there's really nobody on the cast. I've been in touch with Branson, talked to Branson, saw Jamil, both New York and LA, like I said. And we even talked about it. He and Nick and I talked, and he was like, I knew you weren't going to eliminate a woman. They both felt that I was going to take out one or the other of them. They just didn't know which. And that was a pretty accurate read. So, there's nothing I can say bad about either of them. I think that's everybody.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna give you my one last question, because I know I gotta let you go eventually.
Okay.
Because I know, look, if it was up to me, I will hold you here all day, because I have so much to do. You're a busy woman.
We have catch up to do one of these days, Lana.
We do. But knowing that the reality show thing that we all love, and which brought us to all of this, to this point in the first place, because that's what my whole podcast is about, reality TV. On reality TV is crazy. Did you go into this game pulling like inspirations from all the different shows that we've watched, and like strategy wise and figuring it? I know you said once you got on the plane, the strategy of course had to adjust, but that's part of reality TV. We all know
that's part of it.
You got to go in and be flexible and be willing to move and maneuver and navigate your way through. But did your love for reality TV and watching so much reality TV help you in this game, in this journey? Or was it just like, nah, I'll just go by what I know?
It helped to a certain degree because I felt like I had a better read on players, maybe better than some other people, because I was looking for things that other people may not have been looking for immediately. On the other hand, I was looking for things, and unfortunately, you don't always find you don't always get what you're looking for, you know. And so it was a little bit of a detriment for that. I definitely I had to do a lot of I mean, it was like Friends, it's like pivot, pivot, pivot. And I just kept pivoting. But my back was against the wall from the first day, from the jump, and I had to work hard to stay in.
Right.
And so I definitely think that being a reality show junkie helped with that, because I was thinking on strategies that other people used where you're looking at it going, oh my God, they're dead in the water. They should be out of the game, and they survive.
Yep.
And they're on to the next show. So I did draw that specifically. Stephanie LaGrassa from Survivor.
Yeah.
You know, she was flying solo.
Yeah.
And stayed in. And she stayed in. She was physically able to, and was amazing, and stayed in.
Yeah.
So she was one that I definitely drew on. Another one would be Tyson Apostle. Because more than once he should have been out in the seasons that he played. But he was just so good at he could fling bullshit at the wall and make it look like art.
Right.
You know, that's Tyson and his personality. And then of course there's some incredibly smart players. And at times I think I overthought it. And you know, that happens. That does happen. But overall, I think that I played well with the cards that I was dealt at different times. I wasn't afraid of the situations. I wasn't afraid of Rob.
Right.
And I did go at it head on, probably a little too strong at times. But as a gamer, I respect him. I can't help it, you know. Trying to think. There was, you know, there's other players. There's a couple Big Brother players that you knew should have been out of there and weren't.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know, so yeah, I drew a lot of it from the challenge, from the Amazing Race.
Yeah.
Literally Rob getting other people to eat.
Right.
Or to pass on eating meat so that their penalties started after his. And, you know, exactly, which I think is one of his best strategic moves ever. And it wasn't even in Survivor.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, there's a lot of players that I drew inspiration from and did the best I could, again, with what I had, you know, at that point.
Would you do it again? Would you do it, this show or any reality show ever again, Kim?
If I'm physically able to, yes, absolutely. I would do this again in a heartbeat. Production, everything from the beginning casting process all the way through to the executive producers were nothing short of professional and encouraging, and the follow-ups, even after we were done filming, it's like just checking in with you. And they did that for all of us. That wasn't anything special for me, but they cared about what was said. They were just amazing, and they had this soap. Oh my gosh. This jungle was a jungle They literally built a city within the jungle long enough for us to do this, and then had to return because it was private land.
Right.
They had to return the jungle to its previous status, and and donated so much of what was used out there to the villages. It was really NBC and the production company Endemol Shine were so amazing, and I would encourage anybody to get out there and apply. If you think that you can do it, if you think that you can inspire somebody else in the process, if you just do it. You will not regret applying. You will regret if you didn't apply, period. And as far as any other shows, I would love to do the Traders. I know everybody probably says that.
That's what I said. I was about to say, when I petition you for Trader 3, don't say nothing.
I would definitely do the Traders. Put me in the castle. I'd be good. I'd be good with that. I'd be thrilled with the opportunity of it. House of Villains. What a fun show. And I like that nobody really roots against you because everybody's rooting for a villain, you know? And so it's like, if you're going to call me a villain and think I'm a villain, even if I didn't do a lot of villainous stuff, I would do. Joel is an amazing host, and that was just a fun show. But New York would make me cry, I'm sure. But
oh my God, I would pay money to see you in New York having it, just talking. Y'all, I don't even want y'all fighting, just having a conversation.
Just talking. Oh my God, I would love to just sit down and have conversation after conversation with her.
Everything.
I think that those would be the two main ones that I could do. I could do Big Brother. I don't know if I would want to do Big Brother now. I mean,
that's a long
3 weeks out on the island, 90 days, 100 days. That's a long time. That's a long time. So I do it? Yes. Would I want to do it? I don't know. Maybe, depending on what they end up doing with formats there. Possibly. So, I mean, there's definitely options. It'd be a question of what do they think I can bring to their game, as a show. And if I can bring something, if I can be Team Good TV without acting, I'm not an actress, so I'm not good at that. But if me as myself can bring something to the show, let's talk. Let's talk.
I'm here for it. Anytime I can see Kim Mattina on my TV screen, I'm very happy.
Otherwise, I'm one and done. So, and that's okay too. I'm proud of the game I played. I'm happy with how I maneuvered and pivoted and switched gears as needed.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about that. Is there things I would do different? For sure. Absolutely. But hindsight's 2020.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Kim, I want to say thank you so much for coming on The Cup. We appreciate you. We were rooting for you this entire time. I enjoyed watching you on Deal or No Deal, and it's been nothing but a pleasure. And my heart is full that you are here. So thank you
so much, Lana, again, for asking me and for being a part of the journey with me. I really appreciate you guys. And I mean, I talked to you after I saw one of your recap shows anyway. And I hope you guys have continued success with your podcast, because I think you do a really good job breaking things down. And so I do love watching it. And everybody get out there and apply. Get out there and apply. Lana, you know that I'm going to encourage that every single time, because there are so many good players that are entertaining, while they're just being themselves
Right.
and wanting to get that gold medal at the end.
Yeah.
So definitely get out there and apply. And hey, follow me. I'm up for chat. I'm a queen of life hacks,
Yeah.
so.
Okay. Y'all see it. Her ad is right there. Her ad has been scrolling down at the bottom. But so we appreciate you. I thank everybody for watching. Hit the subscribe button on your way out. Hit the notification bell. Do all the things to say you support the Cup, because we appreciate you. You can follow us on all of our socials at the Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you keep scrolling down there, you'll see the link for the Cup merch. You can get that too. We appreciate you. And on that note, we say cheers, Kim.
Oh,
Cheers.
thank you. I've got a Frappuccino, so I don't have a cup out, but
That's all right.
cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you again.
We're on.